In this video, I'm going to tell you about a resolve build using the Sarugami Armor in Ghost of Tsushima from the Iki Island expansion. This monkey armor gives you resolve gains that are increased by a massive amount. And so we're going to try to use this to just resolve our way through the fights, either by healing or using special skills, the mythical skills such as the Heavenly Strike, which rely on using resolve. And the idea with this build is that you're supposed to get more resolve than you actually use, and every time you use resolve you get more back. Although that's not true in all cases, and we're going to argue that this build is very OP if you come into a fight, especially a duel, with a lot of resolve, but it is very weak in duels where you only have a few resolve to start out with. Subscribe to the Linus Wilson channel where we give you the secrets to crush Ghost of Tsushima. So I want to thank Gooshy Gaming for tipping me off on this build, and I did find it really helpful in the final boss fight in Ghost of Tsushima. And I'm going to cut out all the parts that talk about the story in this boss fight, but I'm pretty sure you knew we were going to have a boss fight with this boss. And as you can see, Jin with the Sarugami armor, the monkey armor, fully upgraded, is healing and gaining resolve and really never losing resolve. And we're occasionally doing some heavenly strikes, which I'm trying to do as much as I can. And that's eventually wearing down the boss, end up victorious. Now, I will give you the caveat that this is on easy, but my previous duel in which I was, parrying and things like that, although I was wearing inappropriate armor, I was wearing ghost armor, went really badly, and Jin nearly died. This was much less taxing. So I was like, okay, this is an OP build. If we always have more resolve and can heal faster, that we can lose resolve, and we can also do these heavenly strikes, then we ought to be just able to destroy and run over opponents. But that's not the case. Now, I'm not saying that you could use this armor effectively, or you could be more skilled and you could still crush your duel opponents, but when Gooshy Gaming did this, he did not do this in boss fights or duels, but he did this as kind of roaming around a camp. And I think for roaming around a camp, this is not really a great build, even if it works. That there's a lot of other things that are quite OP in this game. Another build would be like a fire build, or my favorite build is the poison arrow build, also employing the charm of fortune, the two charms of fortune. And I think that, is going to be good at all levels of difficulty, because obviously those poison kills are a percentage, right? That's a percentage that is not based on how tough the enemy is. So you can take out very high level enemies with a very high percentage just with an arrow shot, with a poison build. It's only in duels where you're restricted from using your arrow and you're using your ghost weapons that I think that a swords build like this should be effective. But the game has essentially nerfed this by only giving you 3 resolves in the duels in which you are not fighting through the story. So the replay duels, for some reason, all start with 3 resolve, regardless of how many resolve that you start out with. And I thought, well, maybe this is due to the fact I had low resolve when I was doing all these fights, and that is not the case. I'm always going into these duels, the replay duels, which don't affect your stats going in or going out, with 3 resolve. And with 3 resolve, you don't have enough resolve to do heavenly strikes. And indeed, if you ever get below 1 resolve, then you can't heal or regenerate resolve, because you get resolve by using resolve with this build. And I found, whether I was doing those duels on lethal or easy, that they were very tough with 3 resolve with this armor on, which also cannot parry. So I guess my recommendation with this build would be to use it for boss fights if you're playing through the story. carry. It may not be the best build for those boss fight duels, but if you have more than 6 resolve, then it conceivably could be quite OP and very hard to lose if you keep on healing yourself and doing heavenly strikes. But beware of the Dance of Wrath, which takes up 3 resolves, which may deplete your resolve so much that you go down in kind of a death spiral, because if you get some unlucky draws of resolve and get below 1 resolve and you can't parry to get the resolves back, then there's really no benefit to this build, and you might actually have to switch armor, switch tactics. Subscribe to the Linus Wilson channel. We give you the secrets to crush Ghost of Tsushima. I just want to say another thing, that I've gotten a lot of abusive comments this second time around in my coverage of Ghost of Tsushima that I did not see in the first time around. And I try to help people to succeed in this game. And I try to give them tips that are easy to implement, that do not rely on being good. But whether you think I am good or not, I have been very successful in getting all the trophies and completing the single-player campaigns in ways that the vast majority of players have not done. I think if your emphasis is on putting other people down, that's unfortunate. And it also is probably not productive in actually completing the game. So be nicer to one another, and it's a single player game. So I guess perhaps the multiplayer has attracted a lot of people with low self-esteem who feel like they can build themselves up by tearing other people down. But I don't think that is the case, that think they still feel as empty after trying to tear someone down.